You already know what it is. Over 20 years later, and the Super Smash Bros. Melee opening still gives me goosebumps. The animation, the fast cuts highlighting each character, the Yoshi Stampede, the Chic Zelda interlude with the mystical bridge section, the timpani rolls at the end, building the anticipation and the excitement, the announcer yelling the name of the game at the end, which smoothly transitions into the title screen. Hell yeah, we ain't playing any old video game, we playing a motherfucking video game! I always watch it to this day. When friends come over to play some Melee and one of those punk asses skip it, I have to get up, smack them upside the head, hit the power button twice, sit back down, and we bask in its greatness. We come from a long line of mountain climbers. In this household, we don't skip peak. Today we're talking about video game opening cinematics. Some games have something that plays on the title screen in the background, and I love these, but I ain't talking about these today. I ain't talking about first cutscenes like in Elden Ring when they start the game showing you the loathsome doo-doo eater. I ain't talking about a cold open on a fresh save file like the Wii Sports Resort Woohoo Island Skydive, although I do absolutely love this section, so incredible, chef's kiss, piece of pasta. I'm talking about a scene that automatically plays before the title screen every time you turn the game on. Usually like 30 seconds to a minute and a half long. Now, I couldn't find any sort of comprehensive list of every single game that has ever had one, so I made a list of games that I played as a kid that had one, then asked my community for some suggestions. And thank you, because hot damn did y'all goddamn deliver. But there's way too many to go through all of them, I'm sorry guys. Back to Smashin' Bros. The other openings, while very good in their own right, they were never able to quite capture the same magic that Melee's opening had. With the first opening in the 64th Smash game, it was able to pretty quickly explain what the premise of the series is. A kid playing make-believe and mashing their Nintendo toys together. The final boss is literally the hand that controls them. Given the limitations of the hardware, it was primarily the in-game models bouncing off each other, but it's still certainly charming and timeless. But with the Melee opening, they went all out. Got 3 different computer graphics and animation studios to work on it. The only limitation of it is Melee had 14 initial playable characters and 12 more unlockable. But I guess to not spoil who the secret characters are, the opening would only show the 14 starter ones, plus Jigglypuff, who was already in the first game. The Smash game before Melee would update these silhouettes of the secret characters with their PNGs after you would unlock each one. In the Smash game after Melee, Super Smash Bros. Brawl would update the opening character scroll with each unlockable character as you play the game more and more. Brawl was unique in that it had a story mode, the Subspace Emissary, which featured extremely okay Kirby-style gameplay, but really cool boss fights and really cool cutscenes. I always love these. We could see these scripted interactions from all these different franchise characters coming together. So for the opening itself, it was primarily a cutscene sizzle reel of scenes from Subspace, interspersed with little bits of gameplay. Again, mostly featuring characters who are unlocked at the start, and Marth twice, but they do have time to fit in Solid Snake and Sonic the Hedgehog, Smash's first ever third-party guest characters. Brawl's opening song featured this grand operatic theme, fully orchestrated with a Latin choir from longtime Final Fantasy composer Nobuo Uematsu, so you already know it's gonna be ballin'. This song makes you feel like you're gladiators fighting in the Colosseum going up against a fleet of Bengal tigers. The theme song to the Wii game, where Super Mario beats Toon Link with a baseball bat, does not need to go this hard, but everyone is glad that it does. For many players, this is basically the main theme of all Smash Bros. The cutscenes really were a big draw of Subspace. However, apparently people watching them on YouTube without playing the game was upsetting to the game's creators, I guess? So instead of having a story mode with cutscenes, for future Smash games they instead put their cutscene budget into high quality pre-release trailers, which yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to do it. It really builds excitement leading towards release. And for Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, the opening opens with a lot of scenes from those trailers to highlight all the characters. And the rest of the opening is gameplay. Exciting gameplay for sure, but just gameplay. I do really like the song though. Not quite as exhilarating as Melee's or Brawl, but still pretty good. Its sister game, Super Smash Bros. For 3DS, does not really have an opening at all. And the most recent one, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, also known as Smush, and its opening is it's okay. Even though, similar to Smash 4, its cutscene resources went into pre-release trailers and really into DLC trailers. The opening is mostly a gameplay sizzle reel. Smush also did have a story mode, if you can call it that, and the story mode has, if I remember correctly, 1 2/2 cutscenes, and the opening has a few very short clips from those. The song that plays is Lifelight, sung by a female vocalist, which is pretty good. It has English lyrics that I don't know what's going on with these lyrics. They describe the story mode? The final DLC trailer for Sora? I'm not entirely sure. It's very poetic and vague. It is kind of the most disappointing opening of the 5, but I don't fault it too much because this game had like 60 or 70 some odd characters before DLC, and everyone shows up for a little bit before the real main character of Smash is revealed. Pikachu, apparently. On the real though, I'm glad that something is still here at all. These opening cinematics in video games are kind of a lost art form, which honestly makes sense. If you have limited resources for game development, why put a ton of that into something that players will likely skip 90% of the time? A pivotal cutscene in the middle of the game? Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. Some BS before the game starts? I ain't watching all that. I turn the game on to play the game. But the openings do add a little extra pizzazz. Now the opening to the Live Alive remake, I never skip this. It sure does help that it's only like 10 seconds long and I have to loudly talk over it to prevent a copyright claim. Thank you, Square Enix. But a cool thing is that it updates some of the scenes after you beat the game, so there may have been some spoilers in there. Whoopsie. The Smash openings honestly could have been the whole video. It's fun to look at how they've changed over time. But let's look at some others. These opening cinematics were there to get you hyped up for the game before you play the game. Kind of like intros to Saturday morning cartoons. Partially because these would usually be the most animated part of the show. The best part of Digimon was always the Digimon song at the start, not the 10-minute long digivolving sequences each episode. Opening sequences have been around for quite a while, but they are probably the most prevalent in the GameCube, PS2, Xbox, the first Xbox era. Some of them are like trailers for the game before you start playing the game, even though you already bought the game and you're about to start playing it anyways. Now the Monster Hunter series, these openings were always beautiful, featuring high quality models and animations. They were able to convey the core gameplay loop and key mechanics of each game, and later ones display the thrill of the hunt and sheer threat of the monsters, which is exactly why they have to be hunted to extinction. I'm the good guy here, for real, I promise. One thing I really like about these openings, like for example the 2 openings to Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, is even though it's these high resolution scenes, you can still tell exactly on the map in actual gameplay where these scenes are taking place. I love that attention to detail. Monster Hunter games are pretty light on story, but one thing I love about the opening to Monster Hunter Generations is that it shows a group of rookie hunters taking on a Glavenus for the first time. They're clearly inexperienced, fumbling and stumbling over each other, but they manage to persevere. And in this game's enhanced cousin, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, notable for its appearance in Watakoi, this game has a brand new opening, and we see the exact same group of 4 hunters, except now they're much more experienced. The Hammermane is wearing the armor of the Glavenus they fought earlier. They're much more of a coordinated unit, unlike me and my friends when we play online. I love this. This type of thing is what the Monster Hunter movie should have been, and not whatever this was or whatever this was. But nowadays in Monster Hunter, the initial load screens are so long that they just go title screen, and instead they have the more cinematic moments happen during the game. Some Final Fantasy games, especially the remakes and re-releases, have these gorgeously animated openings where you can see the full detail of the characters. Especially when the games used pixel art or chibi models due to hardware limitations, it was a way to know what these characters really looked like and help your imagination fill in the gaps. Star Fox Assault's intro feels like the beginning of an episode of Star Trek. The intro is fully orchestrated like the rest of the game. This game is so awesome, man. It never gets talked about. I'm convinced people who didn't like it only played the demo at Walmart or something and didn't play the whole thing. Some openings are like a character sizzle reel or cutscene sizzle reel. A lot of the Sonic the Hedgehog games have an opening, but my favorite opening has gotta be the one from Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. It's a hype sequence with Sonic and Shadow rail grinding towards each other, and all 6 playable characters flash on screen. Knuckles barks at the camera, and this opening is cool as hell, but not really reflective of gameplay because there's not enough Chow guarded. The opening to Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo, aka the greatest video game of all time. I'm not really sure why they kept making video games after this one. It starts with that iconic title splash page with the grandfather clock pendulum, and then displays all the cool locales from across different time periods you visit in the game. The PlayStation 1 port and future releases added a bunch of animated cutscenes, including a brand new opening sequence of various scenes and characters from the game in higher detail to closer match the look of the box art and those Toriyama designs. Although,
actually, Frog was not in the party for the Zombor boss fight. This opening is inaccurate. I can't believe they messed up that detail. What a butchered port.
along the same lines, games that have manga and anime inspired art styles frequently have these types of intro sequences before the title screen, which makes sense because it's like watching the opening to an anime. In fact, many of them are animated in the style of hand-drawn animation instead of the game's 3D models, as if they are straight up a TV show. Like, if you showed these to people who did not already know these were video game characters, they'd think it was a TV show. For example, the Persona series has these types of openings, and what's really cool about these is that when the enhanced version comes out, they do a whole new opening. So you get to see two openings with all your favorite characters. Like the original Persona 5 opening has Joker swinging through the city like Spider-Man, and the Royale version has the party members smashing open a bunch of presents. Probably the presents they bought with all the profits of Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal and Persona 5 Strikers and the Persona 5 manga and Persona 5 anime and Persona 5 X and Persona 5 Tactics and Persona 5 Dancing, and there's probably more I'm forgetting. Look, if you think this numbered entry in a JRPG series is milked, just wait until you hear about Final Fantasy VII. God Eater 3. I thought this game was gonna be like Cooking Mama on Mount Olympus, but no, it's just anime Monster Hunter. You eat 0 gods in this game. False advertising. Anyways, it has a big ol' anime opening. This is just a TV show. Guilty Gear Strive. Awesome animated opening with a live band. He's singing about his blazing bullshit. Maybe get that checked out and eat some more fiber. And yeah, this is just a TV show. All of the Kingdom Hearts. This is not a TV show. Instead, these are like music videos for each of these really beautiful pop songs that I don't think have much to do with the game's plot. I remember as a kid them playing this song, Simple and Clean, for the Kingdom Hearts commercials on regular TV, and I'm pretty sure this song alone is what kickstarted a lot of future weeaboos' interest in Kingdom Hearts. I also cannot play this song by itself on YouTube due to copyright and have to talk really loudly over it. Thank you, Square Enix! These are so much fun to watch, but the downside about some of these is that they sometimes spoil the story of the story-based game that you are playing. This character who's an antagonist at the beginning of the game is with the rest of the party in the opening? I wonder if they'll join the party later. Speaking of stories, some intros have some prologue to the actual story. It's some background info that you can watch if you want, but it ain't all that important. If it was important, it would be in the actual game. Shit! Jokes aside, these are fine. You watch it once the first time you turn the game on, and that's it. Gran Turismo. The intro to those games always got the intro with the cars driving around. And in Gran Turismo 7, well, it's called Gran Turismo 7 because it always starts with a 7-minute long opening with the history of every car ever made, from the Model T all the way up to the modern day Batman car, followed by the cars driving around and crashing. Looks like that guy's bad at Gran Turismo. Case study. Fire Emblem, my favorite game series that I rarely talk about because many of its players annoy me. So early in the series, it was all prologue lore. 1,000 years ago, the 8 heroes killed the dragons and shit. Sometimes it comes up in the game, but it ain't a big deal. Or they could go the Sacred Stones method, which is, here's some of the main characters, now here's every character in the game, every single character, don't blink, here's every character. But with Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, you know, the games where the series should have died afterwards, these are basically trailers for the game itself. In fact, I would not be surprised if these were initially used as trailers and then they put them in the game too. Partially cutscene sizzle reel, partially gameplay spectacle, partially high quality art showcase, which is a category that we ain't even got time to talk about today, and partially unique stuff only in the opening. On the 3DS games, their openings were more like anime openings in the same graphical style as the high quality cutscenes during the game, but they contain fully unique scenes, which are really cool, very artsy, probably would make for good reveal trailers in a Nintendo Direct, you know? Shadows of Valentia, Young Alm and Celica are reading a book? What the heck? Fire Emblem players don't read. Three Houses on the Switch. Now this one, it's mostly just a cutscene sizzle reel, but they're all from the game's 4 different routes. So I guess to maybe avoid spoilers, some of the screen is half covered with art of the bone weapons? I'm not sure what the vision was here. The song in the game has vocals that I believe are sung from the perspective of the real main character of Three Houses, Edelgard. But the next Switch FE game, Fire Emblem Engage, has this fully unique sequence before the title screen highlighting the main characters and some of the story synopsis. This is really pretty, really well animated. Hang on, can we turn the volume up real quick? Look, I clown on Engage's opening every chance I get because as a lifelong musician and lifelong player of video games and lifelong player of Fire Emblem and lifelong eardrum haver, this is one of the worst pieces of music I've heard in my entire life. But having a 4Kids English dub style opening song does fit the more cartoony tone of this particular Fire Emblem game, which does not transition nicely into our next category, atmosphere. Now some games openings aren't a hype up sequence, they're more there to establish the game's tone to slide you down into the mood of the game. Now Zelda games often have a behind the title screen atmospheric sequence, be it Wind Waker's whimsy or Ocarina's melancholy, but Twilight Princess, the angsty one, has a simple opening. Horse Link is riding his horse across the desolate Hyrule fields, and then Wolf Link howls at the end. It establishes the more somber tone of this game. Same sort of deal with Majora's Mask's spooky opening. In the Mario sports games, you know, it shows them playing Mario Sports where wacky hijinks are ensuing. Mario, the character that no one plays as, usually wins in these sequences because his name is in the title, he's contractually obligated to win, it would be bad branding if he did not. Same sort of deal with some of the Mario Karts. Now the exception to silly sporty fun time is Mario Strikers Charged, where everyone is fucking pissed that they have to play soccer. So instead, everyone's trying to kill each other. The fans are running to their seats or getting electrocuted. This ain't actual men's soccer. Ain't nobody faking an injury here. This game should have been rated M for mature, for murder, for Mario. So what makes a good opening? Obviously, no one's gonna complain if there is not one. Again, people turn on the game to get to the game. But I think the best openings in modern games should be short, but quality. Fun to watch, but also fine to skip. Like Pokemon. The first several generations of handheld games all started with exciting, really high quality animations that get you excited to play the games and make the player feel like they're embarking on a grand adventure. They're filled with mystery and intrigue, showing glimpses of the new powerful legendary Pokemon. Really great openings, but fine to skip. Jump to present day, Pokemon Violet starts with a book. Just a book. Maybe they should have read that book on how to make a better game. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, then you may enjoy a previous video of mine about save data bonuses in video games. Comment below with what your favorite video game openings are, and today's comment code word is cinema. Comment cinema if you made it all the way through the video, and that's it, video's over.